today we will be going over knowing your rights. For today's presentation, we're going to cover an introduction to CARECEN, preparing yourself for specific scenarios, creating an immigration preparation plan, and avoiding immigration fraud. A little bit about CARECEN. Our name is Central American Resource Center, and although we have Central American in our name, we do not specifically only assist Central Americans, we assist all immigrants. So since our founding in 1983, when thousands of Central Americans fled the brutality of the Civil War, CARECEN has been working to change an unjust immigration system, win legal status for immigrants, and foster community activisms on issues such as education reform, workers and immigration rights, economic justice, and strengthening community ties. CARECEN, the largest Central American immigrant rights organization in the country, empowers Central Americans and all immigrants by defending human and civil rights, working for social and economic justice, and promoting cultural diversity. We envision Los Angeles becoming a place where Central Americans and all other communities live in peace and dignity, enjoying economic well-being, social justice, and political empowerment. An important note, the presentation given today is not intended to be legal advice. Everyone's immigration status and situations and your options are different. If you have any questions about your personal situation, we highly encourage you to schedule an appointment with an attorney so that you can discuss your situation in a confidential space. So to begin, it's important to reiterate, despite what you might have heard channeling in the news, you have rights no matter what your immigration status may be. Everyone is protected under the Constitution, so both citizens and non-citizens alike have the same rights. So everyone has a right. So let's discuss that a little bit more. What categorizes someone as not a citizen? So a non-citizen might be someone that is a lawfully permanent resident, that is a DACA recipient, that is a TPS beneficiary, an undocumented individual, or anyone who is pending immigration relief of any kind. A U.S. citizen is someone born in the U.S., they have naturalized or acquired or derived citizenship from a U.S. parent, U.S. citizen parent. We'll also discuss the California Values Act. What this act ensures, California Values Act SB 54, is that state and local police cannot use their resources to help with federal immigration enforcement. What this means is that police can't use ICE agents as interpreters. Police can't arrest you just because you have a deportation order or other immigration issues. And in the city of Los Angeles, we're also known as a sanctuary city. So what this means is that it prohibits city resources or personnel from being used to help federal enforcement of immigration laws. So if you've seen ICE in your neighborhood, it's very important to document and report it. Take note of the time and the date of your sighting. Obtain information and be as precise as you can. Make note if agents were on foot. Were they in a car? Were they in a van? How were they dressed? And take as many videos and photos as possible. You can contact the LA Rapid Response Network. You can call the Red Box, the 1-888-624-4752 number if you are in the Los Angeles area. If you are located in the Inland Empire, you can call 909-361-4588. Perfect. For this next portion, we will be discussing how to protect yourself during interactions with ICE. Again, the conversations here are not to create fear, but offer awareness and understanding. Even if these topics may not apply to you, you may know someone that might be able to benefit from these conversations. So then what are a person's rights? So under the Fifth Amendment, you have the right to stay silent or remain silent. This includes the right to refuse to sign or provide any documents. And then anything you say or share with any police officer, with any ICE agents, may be used against you later on. Under the Fourth Amendment right, the protection from unlawful search, it's the right against illegal search and seizure. If an agent asks if they can search you, you have the right to say no. ICE and law enforcement cannot enter your home or search your belongings without your permission. Additionally, they almost never have a valid search warrant, so do not give them permission to enter your home. Some tips are to not carry foreign identification documents, such as your passport, with you. These documents may be used against you. Carry with you evidence or copies that you've been in the US longer than 2 years, such as mail that you have received at your home address. So, in an interaction where police or the sheriff's department asks about your immigration status, what can you do? Firstly, reduce the risk to yourself, stay calm, don't run, argue, resist, or obstruct an officer, even if you feel that your rights are being violated. Keep hands where police can see them, and do not lie about your status or provide false documents. What do you do in such encounter? If you are driving and get pulled over, the officer can ask for your driver's license, car registration, and proof of insurance. You do not have to answer questions about your immigration status. You might be asked to step out of the car, but you do not have to answer any other questions. So what if you're stopped by police or ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement? Again, it's very important to reduce the risk to yourself. Stay calm and do not resist or obstruct agents or officers. Do not lie or give false documents. Prepare yourself and your family in case you are arrested. So what are your rights? You have the right to ask if you are free to go. You can just ask, am I free to go? You have the right to stay silent. You do not have to consent to a search of yourself or your belongings. If you are arrested by the police, you have the right to a government-appointed lawyer. If you are detained by ICE, you have the right to consult with a lawyer, but the government is not required to provide you one, and they likely will not. You do not have to answer questions about where you were born, your legal status, or how you entered the country. If you've been pulled over or stopped by police or ICE, what do you do in such encounter? Say you wish to remain silent and ask for a lawyer immediately. If you have been arrested by police, you have the right to a local phone call. If you are detained by ICE, you have the right to contact your consulate. It is very important to remember your immigration number, your A number, or some people may know this as your case number, and give it to your family. Keep a copy of your immigration documents with someone that you trust. So what can you do if ICE is at your home? Reduce the risk to yourself. Stay calm and keep the door closed. Opening the door does not give ICE permission to enter, but it is safer to speak to ICE through the door. What are your rights? You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to let the police or agents enter your home unless they have a certain kind of warrant. If the police have an arrest warrant, legally they are allowed to enter the home of the persons on the warrant if they believe the person is inside. A warrant of removal or deportation does not allow officers to enter the home without consent. Again, what do you do in such encounter? Ask if they are immigration agents and what they are here for. Ask the agent or officer to show you a badge or identification through the window or a peephole. Ask if they have a warrant signed by a judge. If they do, ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to a window so that you can inspect it. Do not lie or produce false documents. Don't sign anything without first speaking to an attorney or a lawyer. If agents force them their way in, do not resist. So what does a warrant look like? There are 4 conditions that typically a warrant needs to meet. First is it has to be issued by a court. The second is that the name of the person and the address need to be attached. And the fourth is signed by a judge or a magistrate judge. So those are 4 conditions that a warrant typically needs to meet. It has to be signed by, it has to be issued by a court. It should have an attachment of the name and the address to be seized, and it should be signed by a judge. So those are 4 conditions that are important. What does a warrant what does not look like a valid warrant? Firstly, it is issued by the Department of Homeland Security. So this does not meet our condition that it is issued by a court. Secondary, there's no name of a person or address where they are going to be seized. And third, there is no immigration judge signing this. This is issued by an immigration officer, not a judge. So this does not meet the 4 conditions. Therefore, this is not a valid warrant. What can you do if ICE is at your work? Again, reduce the risk to yourself. Stay calm. Do not run, argue, resist, or obstruct an officer, even if you believe your rights are being violated. Keep hands where police can see them. Don't lie about your status or provide false documents. And what are your rights? ICE does not need a warrant to enter public spaces in a business, but you still have rights. The right to remain silent. You do not have to consent to the search of yourself or your belongings. If arrested by police, you have the right to a government-appointed lawyer. If detained by ICE, you have the right to consult with a lawyer, but the government is not required to provide one. If you do not have to answer questions about where you were born, your legal status, or how you entered the country. What else may you do in such encounter if ICE is at your work? You may ask, "Am I free to go?" You may say that you wish to remain silent and ask for a lawyer immediately. Do not lie or produce false documents, and do not sign anything without speaking to a lawyer first. If agents force their way in, do not resist. So, you might have seen these circulating around. They are red cards. They can help individuals, non-citizens and citizens alike, to assert their rights in a variety of situations, such as ICE encounters. In these especially difficult and stressful situations, it may be hard to remember your rights, so carrying one of these can be beneficial. You can find them at the ilrc.org/red cards. They are available for free to print. And they come in various languages, and they are easily able to be downloaded, or you can visit local public libraries. A lot of times they offer red cards. So there are many alternatives to seeking these red cards. If you are unable to get a red card or find a location that has one, you can download this app. It is from the National Korean American Service and Education Consortium. This app can serve as a red card. It comes in various languages. This app allows a verbal option that reads your rights out loud. Simply click on the microphone, so on this section right here, and your rights will be spoken out loud. Under each of the tabs listed, it has a variety of resources. So here you can click to notify your contacts, and it will send this message to them that they are an emergency contact in the case that you are detained by ICE. However, if you are subject to detention, you must contact the individual individually. This is not automatic. So if you are detained, your family will not know unless you manually send the message via the app. In the Know Your Rights tab, it gives you a rundown of your rights. The Information tab includes a legal directory for you to contact services that are near you, the ICE detainee locator page, a family preparedness plan in the event that you or a loved one are detained, and the contacts for the embassies. If you are detained, you are permitted to contact your embassy. This app is available for Android and iPhone users alike. You can just search up Know Your Rights for Immigrants. So, what can you do if your loved one is detained? So, this is perhaps one of the most difficult conversations to have. There are five important steps that we have included. Again, this is not intended to be legal advice. This is general information for what you can do. It is recommended that a relative or someone close to the person detained be a U.S. citizen to assist in getting them out. So, what is the first step? Stay calm and gather information. Gather as much information as you can regarding the details of your loved one's detention. You want to prepare by having an A number. Upon their arrest, you will be required to provide the A number. So this can also sometimes be known as the case number. If your loved one has filed a previous immigration application or arrested at the border and allowed to enter, they will have an A number on the related immigration documents. If your loved one does not appear, you can look them up on the ICE field office closest to where your loved one was last detained. You can use the phone number provided or email to contact the office and request information. If information is withheld, you have the right to speak with the supervisor or contact the consulate for assistance. You can also use the step 2, locating a detained family or family member. Some tips are to check regularly and type different variations of the name in the search box. Another important reminder is to not provide false information when detained by ICE or law enforcement, because people looking for you will be using your government name and not your fake name. So, people arrested by ICE will be processed by officers in the ICE detention and removal office or short term facility for up to 72 hours. Sometimes there can be longer delays. So, if it may take a little longer to find your loved one, then they may be transferred to another place for long term stay and often out of the state. Some people may be transferred several times in the first few weeks. Step 3, know your rights. They can exercise the right to remain silent. They can refuse to answer questions about their immigration status without a lawyer present. They can politely state, "I want to speak to a lawyer." You are not required to answer questions about your immigration status or where you were born without an attorney present. You do not have to sign anything. Instruct your loved ones to not sign any forms without consulting a lawyer. You have the right to contact your country's consulate. Consulate can sometimes assist the family with legal help or assist the family in locating their loved ones. Once you locate your loved one, you may be able to call the detention facility to plan a call or potentially a visit. Step 4, get legal help. Get legal representation. Again, the government does not provide free lawyers in immigration court. You can contact nonprofit legal organizations or an accredited representative for affordable help. Be cautious of fraud. Check if your local provider is listed in the EOIR official directory. A reminder, notarios are not licensed to practice law in the United States. In this situation, it is best for you to contact an immigration attorney. They are qualified to help you in this situation. Some orgs that potentially could be assisting at this time are the Immigrant Defenders Law Center or the Esperanza Immigrant Rights Project. Step 5. You'll want to understand bond eligibility. Not everyone qualifies for bond. It depends on the immigration and criminal history of the individual. Those who are not eligible for bond have an outstanding removal order, prior deportation orders, or other serious criminal offenses. This means that they cannot be released on bond, and they may be subject to mandatory detention. You can request a bond hearing before an immigration judge to argue for release. However, you can only request a bond hearing once. For this reason, it's best to have an attorney. If bond is granted, only lawfully permanent residents or U.S. citizens are permitted to be obligors. An obligor is the person who is paying the bond. Paying for the bond must be done through the C-Bonds app. Please keep in mind that this app is only in English. There have been notes that the app is difficult to navigate for many individuals. It is recommended to please contact an attorney for appropriate steps regarding how to process a payment. We will be discussing creating an immigration preparation plan. So what can you do in emergency planning when you have children? Firstly, you'll want to identify an emergency contact for your children to memorize, both their phone number, their email, or any information that may be pertinent. You'll have to find someone who may be able to take care of your children if you or a loved one is detained or deported. Guardianship, ensuring that the person can make medical and legal decisions for the child, may be an option. You'll need to save for an emergency fund, update necessary contact information with schools. And lastly, you'll need to obtain passports for U.S. citizen children. What can you do in emergency planning when it comes to adults? Create a folder of all immigration documents, a list of things a child/family member should do if parents do not come home at the time they're supposed to, a list of things a parent or partner can do in case of deportation. For example, call a community agency that gives legal help. Be sure to always carry with you telephone numbers of legal service providers and family members who you can call in case you are detained. We live in a digital age now, so we may be used to having numbers on our cell phones, but a lot of times cell phones die or they are inaccessible. So it's important to make sure to keep those numbers on your person, whether it be, like I said, legal service providers or numbers of family members. What are an archive of important documents to keep? It is not limited to this. Each person may have different documents that are classified as important to them. This is just a starting step. So some things to consider are passports, birth certificates, marriage license, guardianship orders, caregiver authorization affidavits, any restraining orders you may have against anyone, if applicable, an A number or immigration documents, work permits, green cards, visas, a driver's license or other identification cards, your social security card or an ITIN number, the registry of birth for U.S. born children registered in a parent's home country. Again, if this is applicable, important children's information. So for example, if your child takes any medication, including health insurance, a medication list, a doctor's contact information, and other emergency numbers and important contact information. You can also visit the Family Preparedness Kit by the ILRC to learn more about what tools you can take and what steps you can do to prepare. For this section, we will be discussing avoiding immigration fraud. Just like you go to the doctor regularly to get an annual or physical checkup, it's important to do a checkup on your status. So, when was the last time you spoke to an immigration attorney? Have any circumstances in your life changed? Obtaining a FOIA may help in preparation for this discussion. So, what are some ways that immigration status changes? If any immediate relative is a lawful permanent resident or citizen, if you are a youth that has experienced abuse, abandonment, or neglect, if you've been a victim of a crime and reported the incident, if you've been a victim of trafficking, if you've been a victim of domestic violence, or if you are from a specially designated country. What are some recommendations that CARECEN has? If you have a pending immigration case or are in the process of filing, continue with your process and get advice on your best options moving forward. If you have a prior removal or deportation order, get a legal consultation with an attorney or an OLAP accredited representative. Be sure to file DACA applications early, before the 150-day filing window, but less than 1 year. File TPS re-registrations timely. Remember free immigration legal services options. Who is authorized to help with an immigration case? They typically fall under three categories. A licensed attorney, meaning someone that went to law school and graduated. They have taken the bar exam and they are a licensed member of their state bar association and are in good standing. An accredited representative through the Department of Justice. They are non-attorneys who have demonstrated to the Department of Justice that they have the education and training to provide certain immigration services. They must work at at a recognized organization, and they must have full or partial accreditation. And paralegals under the direction of licensed attorneys. Paralegals and legal assistants are able to assist attorneys in providing services to individuals, but they alone cannot represent clients themselves. So, again, only under three categories: a licensed attorney, an accredited representative through the Department of Justice, and paralegals under the discretion of licensed attorneys. And a lot of times we will see notario fraud. So what is notario? What is a notario? In many Latin American countries and in European countries, a notario público has the equivalent of a law license and is qualified to advise and represent clients before the government. This is not the case in the United States. A notary public is only qualified to witness the signature of forms. Notary publics, or notarios, are not attorneys and are not qualified to represent anyone in court. Also, be mindful of other immigration scams. USCIS and other immigration branches will never call, email, or text you for money. They will never ask you to transfer money to an individual. USCIS does not accept payments through Western Union, MoneyGram, PayPal, Venmo, or gift cards as payment for immigration fees. If you are unsure of an immigration fee, you should look up the USCIS forms, and they will include a filing fee schedule. USCIS will also never contact you via your personal social media. All USCIS communication about a pending case will come in the form of letters or through your online account. Be wary of scam and impersonation emails. So let's make a checklist. If you are seeking an attorney, check the State Bar Association for a list of attorneys. View the payments, the USCIS forms that they're able to complete, and ask yourself, Is this too good to be true? Be sure to also ask for case contracts and regular updates. You also have the right to ask for copies of your application. There are some other helpful resources for a list of accredited representatives. You can go to the Department of Justice/Find Legal Representation. You can go to stopnotariofraud.org and also protection tips from AILA and what you should expect from your legal representative from UNHCR. If you have been harmed by a notario, report them by visiting the oia.lacounty.gov/immigration fraud.